Hi guys, my name is Mpondams and I'm back with another episode, and this episode will be fully dedicated to the G20 movement, Women for Change. I thought I should dedicate this episode to the movement because obviously for raising awareness, but most importantly to call out Christians, of how incompetent we can be in things like this, in matters like this, wherein we really do not stand in the gap as we should. When Jesus teaches the disciples to pray, one of the things he says is that may your kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven. And that's really one of that is the purpose of really all Christians, all believers. It is to bring heaven here into earth. We are the vessels that bring heaven here into earth. But when things like this are happening or whatever, I've really seen how we just sit back and watch. And I'm speaking from my own, experiences or, perspective, and just to be transparent that there have been times when, or there are things that have been happening in the country, in the economy, and I found myself not wanting to even engage with that. Like, I'm just like, that's in God's hands, God will, and I'm just being honest. And I think that many of us do that. Many of us tend to really detach ourselves from things that don't directly affect us and assume that God can see it and God is sovereign over everything and everything will just be fine because God is sovereign over everything. But that is not a kingdom mindset. A kingdom mindset wants to participate in the will of God, because we know that there are many things in the country that are happening that are not in the will of God. And so we should be participants, in what God is trying to achieve in the world, because we are the vessels that He has to use. He has to use. We are the vessels that He wants to use, to bring heaven into earth. Yeah, and so I thought I should come here to just really call us out as believers of how incompetent we are in the assignment that we have been called to, And I was just saying to myself that we are only Christians, we are only believers when it's convenient, when it's easy, when it suits us. But when we really need to be Christians, when we need to be believers, when it's time to really kneel down, go pray, go fast, we are nowhere to be found. We are only found when, I wanted this job, so I'm going to fast 40 days, 50 nights. I'm only a believer when I want to get this degree, and so now I must, pray and ask God for wisdom. I'm only a believer when it affects me. I'm only a believer when it's about me. I'm only a believer when it's convenient for me. But where are the believers when 15 women are being killed every day? Rape cases are being reported every day. Like, where are we when these things are happening? When the government is making unruly decisions, where are we? Like, what are we doing? At what point do we bring heaven into earth? Like, when do we think we should do that? Maybe that should be the question. That do we think that we only have to bring heaven into earth when Jesus comes back. Like, really, when do we think we need to carry out this assignment? I was reading this book called Deeper Realms by Apostle Amin Mabange. Shout out. It's a good read. Um, really speaks on prayer. Very, very, very. It's a good read. And there's a chapter that I love so much. Oh, I've not been speaking to the mic. There's a chapter that I love so much, which is, this chapter is called Hunger and Burdens, right? And I want to read out this part wherein he says that you see a man praying 50 days, 100 days, 200 days, or 300 days non-stop. You are looking at a man with hunger and burden. That man has gone beyond his needs, and now he's carrying the burdens of God. His heart is full of the purposes of God that have to be fulfilled in his days, and he will not rest until he sees the realities of God come to pass. Oh, God is looking for the men that will carry the divine things of God in these last days. Where are the men and the women who are angry enough to carry the divine things of God? Where are the men and the women? Where are the believers who are hungry, who are also burdened to carry the divine things of the Lord? Where are the people of God who are burdened by the things that are happening in the country, and they know that these are not the realities of God? And so I need to go pray. I need to go do something. I need to go fast. I need to go seek out the Lord. Where are we? Where are we? Like, where are we in times like this? We really need to stop being selfish. I think that's real at the core. That's what it is that you are selfish and you do not love the next person. You do not care about your neighbor. That's why we don't have the burden, of these situations. We don't feel the need to go fast. We only fast when it concerns us. We only seek the Lord when it's concerning us. Forgetting that those people, or these people who are victims of this movement of GBV, are also the people of God. These are the people of God that we need to care for. These are the people of God that we need to love. So why are we not seeking the Lord? Why are we not praying to God? Praying for comfort, praying for love. Anyways, I was in the book of Esther, and I believe that we all know the story of Esther. She was for context, she was a newly appointed queen, and in the time when she was appointed, and she was a Jew, and in her being Jew, no one knew about that. She kept her nationality and her family background a secret, so no one knew that she was a Jew. And in the time of and in this time, there was an order from the king. Yeah, there was an order that declared that every Jew must be executed. I didn't. Yeah. If you really want to know why, please go read the book of Esther. But Mordecai, who's the uncle of Esther, was really grieved by this whole situation. Now he sends a letter to Esther, and he says, "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your family will perish. And who knows that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Who knows that we are believers today? We are believers today for such a time as this. We are the people of God for such a time as this. We are the people of God that have to carry out the divine realities of God. Who knows? Maybe we are the people that God has called so that a change can be made, so that something can be done. Maybe we are the people that the Lord is waiting for, so that we can seek Him out and pray that He delivers us from such disasters, from such evil. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: "Go and gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." And Mordecai went away and carried out all of Esther's instructions. Now, Esther really is not the first person in the Bible that does this. That goes on a fast when something has happened to a land of people. You have Daniel, who also went to go fast for his people. You have Nehemiah. These people went to go seek out the Lord so that God can do something about what is happening in the land of their people. What are we doing? Me, Mpo, you and I, what are we doing so that the land of our people is saved, so that the land of our people is healed, so that the land of our people finds relief? What are we doing? I thought I should come here and again place a burden, come urge believers to rise up, to be the people that God has called, to bring once again heaven into earth. And so, really I wanted to urge us to let us have a burden, and burdened enough to kneel down, pray and fast. Not just pray. I think also the fasting is very necessary. In the book of Matthew, I think 19 or 17, chapter 17, there's a story I think of which we all know, wherein the disciples were unable to cast a certain demon out of a boy, and Jesus calls them out for being faithless and a perverse generation because they couldn't cast out the demon. And I was looking for the definition of perverse. The definition of perverse, it says contrary to the accepted or expected standard or practice. So really, when Jesus was calling them out for being perverse, it means that they acted in a way that is contrary to who they should be. As a believer, you should be able to cast out a demon. But because you are faithless and you are perverse, you are acting contrary to who God is. That's why we are being called. Jesus Christ. We are a perverse generation when we are acting contrary to the will of God. Because the expected standard is that when something is happening, when something is going wrong, a believer should pray. So if you are not praying, you are perverse. You are a perverse generation, and we are faithless, really. And later on, the disciples then ask him, why were we not able to cast out the demon? And Jesus again says that you because of your unbelief. And then he further says that, however, this can only go out by prayer and fasting. So this kind of demon can only be cast out by prayer and fasting. And so really I want to emphasize on the fact that it's not just prayer. Sometimes certain situations need fasting. It cannot only go out by prayer. Sometimes we need to be, he says that if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves, come in humility, humble. Fasting puts you in a position wherein you are humble. You need him. If they would humble themselves and turn away from their wicked ways, he says that I will hear them and I will come heal their land. Oh. And so really that's what I'm here to urge us to really go before the Lord and humble ourselves, so that he can come heal our land, so that he can come deliver our land, so that he can come relief, so that his will can prevail. Because I can tell you that that this is not his will. What's happening, the state of our economy, this is not in his will. And so we need to be able to stand in the gap as Christians. We need to be able to stand in the gap as believers. However, this only comes out by prayer and fasting. I think that's what I want to leave here.